Welcome to the Overtaxed Taxpayer channel. Hey, I got a couple of things I want to talk about. Most importantly, a small news article claiming that gold could possibly become illegal to own in the near future. We'll cover that last. Let's talk about silver spot prices. And I really don't go by the spot price, but a lot of people do. And I had an interesting question. This person claimed they were a new silver stacker and has noticed that the spot price has been stagnant for the last 3 years or so, and wanted to know how I can still make the argument for stacking silver. And here it is. First of all, spot price has been stagnant, not what you can purchase it for. So right now the spot price, for example, the spot price is $17.29. That's the asking spot price, $17.29. Now here's where I answer that guy's question. But my argument is it's worth significantly more than the spot price. So if we go over to JM Bullion and we put one silver eagle in our cart and pretend to buy it, you'll notice that with a debit card, it is $27.75. And that's what I keep telling people. Don't go by the spot price. Yes, the spot price has been kind of flat. Obviously, it's raised a little bit since this coronavirus, but you can't get a silver eagle as low as 17 bucks anymore. You just can't. So my argument is it has increased. It has increased significantly. So $27.75 if you use a debit or credit card. If you use a check, snail mail, it's going to be $26.64. Okay, that's the cheapest. Let me see. They're accepting Bitcoin here and Ethereum. It's $26.92. Wire, they're not accepting wire on that low of a purchase. But this goes to show you, the argument is the value of your silver has increased significantly. Okay? For every ounce you got, it's worth about $27. Okay? Let's move on to cryptos real quick before I read the articles. Bitcoin, it's leveled off at about $9,227. So since last week, it's had some roller coasters and settled right around $9,227. Litecoin is going for $44 right now, $44.13. What else is going on here? For those people that are into Chainlink, that's gone up a little bit, $3.98. XRP, you're going at about 19-20 cents. And my two favorites, Theta, it's gone back up again. Just yesterday and the day before yesterday, it settled at 27 cents. Right now it's 29.6 cents. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, 2 cents? Yeah, but if you own 100,000, 200,000 of them, that's not a bad chunk of money, if I might say so myself. Digibyte also went up just a touch. I think yesterday is right around 16, 17. Let me rephrase that. I apologize. Yesterday it was 1.6. I said 16. Getting my decimal places mixed up. It was 1.6 cents, I think, yesterday, and the day before. It's now up to 1.8, almost touching 1.9 right now for Digibyte. So things are looking good. Things are looking good. So let's go on to the article. Every time I hear that gold is going to become illegal, I always jump on the article and read it. And thankfully, this is a very short article. It's by marketwatch.com. And they're supposedly a reputable source for, financial information. But if you ask me, and I was being sarcastic there, if you ask me, they're really protective of the stock market. So what do I mean by that? They're going to always try to scare you away from precious metals, gold and silver, cryptocurrency, and hopefully get you back into the stock market, the paper money, the Vegas game where the house always wins. So let's read this article real quick. It's a nothing article. I read it. I mean, it doesn't really hold. It doesn't hold any weight, in my opinion. And I will post a link of this, obviously. It's got some pretty pictures of some gold bars here. All right, marketwatch.com. Stashing some gold. Here's why that could soon be illegal, according to one notable hedge fund bear. Hedge fund, remember I told you, very protective of their paper Ponzi schemes. It is no surprise that people are buying gold, but the authorities may attempt at some point to demonetize gold, making it illegal to own as a private individual. They will only do this if they feel the need to create a stable unit of account for world trade. And I guess this is some guy's name. That's Crispin Ode, a European hedge fund manager known for stealing headlines with his doomsday prediction, explaining in a note posted on Bloomberg News on Wednesday why he believes that the private gold ownership could be banned if the government loses control of inflation. Again, I always told you about doomsday predictors. They're so... If you listen to all the doomsday and YouTube channels, and we should have been dead 50 times already, and over the course of the last 5 years, it seems like everybody's preparing for that apocalyptic scene. And I guess this coronavirus might be the closest thing we've come to it. Wink, wink. I don't believe it's all that, but don't believe everything you hear about these doomsdays, these YouTube channels and apocalyptic crap. It's not going to happen, and by the time it happens, we'll both be dead anyway. We won't even know we're in it. Okay. Ode, that's his name, said that when the economy recovers from the coronavirus pandemic, which he has likened to the Great Depression, central banks won't be able to contain inflation. History is filled with examples where rulers have, in a moment of crisis, resorted to debasing the coinage, said Ode, who has raised his own gold position in his flagship Ode European Fund all the way up to 39%. He's telling us, hey, be careful. It could become illegal. And then he's padding his own savings, his own fund. So 39.9% at the beginning of the month, from 15.9 at the end of March. The fund cashed in on the initial market crash with 21% surge in March, according to the letter. It dropped down to 9.5 in April as investors warmed back up to a risk-on approach. Fear of the government confiscation, as Bloomberg News explained, it is often discussed among serious gold bugs. It happened in the U.S. in 1933. It did not happen in 1933. There was never, ever a gold confiscation in 1933. I will address that in a couple of minutes. But with major currencies no longer linked to gold, there are no signs such a move is realistically even being considered by the central banks. That's funny. One moment he's saying it could be illegal, and then right there is nobody's even thinking about it or talking about it. O'Day said he expects the powers that be to fight rising inflation and lose, as rates climb as high as 15% within 15 months to weigh heavily on bonds and growth stocks. As for Wednesday's trade, gold prices, the GC000 is negative 0.04. Settled higher for a second session as economic stimulus measures boosted on demand. I am so thirsty I can't even read. I've been laying tile all day long, sweating my butt off. Berkey water. As economic stimulus measures boosted demand for the precious metal against the backdrop of economies attempting to reopen from the COVID-19 pandemic. Stocks also gained ground, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average, NASDAQ, blah, 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 they're up. Okay. Another doomsday prepper type of article. Don't believe all these apocalyptic scenarios that you hear. And gold, in my opinion, will never be made illegal, and it was never confiscated. So back in 1933, there was an executive order. And let me read that executive order. Executive Order 6102 is United States Presidential Executive Order signed on April 5th, 1933 by President Franklin D. Roosevelt, forbidding the hoarding of gold coin, gold bullion, and gold certificates within the continental United States. Plain as day, I understand what I'm seeing there. The order was made under the authority of the Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917, my apologies, as amended by the Emergency Banking Act the previous month. The limitation on gold ownership in the United States was repealed after President General Ford signed a bill legalizing private ownership of gold coins, bars, certificates by an act of Congress codified in, I don't know what this is, let's see, Public Law 93-373. That's what that meant. Which went into effect again back in December, 1974. Okay, the rationale. The state reasoned for the order that was hard times that caused hoarding of gold, stalling the economy growth, and making depression worse. So they're claiming that people who bought gold made the Great Depression worse because they weren't going to that paper Ponzi scheme called cash. Or the stock market, for that matter. It was the stock market. On April 6, 1933, the New York Times wrote under the headline, Hoarding Gold, the executive order issued by President yesterday amplifies and particularizes his earlier warnings against hoarding. On May 6, this is back then now, on May 6, taking advantage of a wartime statute that had not been repealed, he issued a presidential proclamation that forbade the hoarding of gold or silver coin or bullion currency under the penalty of a $10,000 and or up to 5 to 10 years imprisonment. The main rationale behind the order was actually to remove the constraint on the Federal Reserve, which prevented it from increasing the money supply during the Depression. The Federal Reserve Act of 1913 required 40% gold backing of Federal Reserve notes issued. So back then, you had to have gold to print your money, and I guess the people were hoarding it. But see, that's not how it is today. Our dollar is not backed by by gold. You see my point? I can understand that let's just say that the dollar was backed by gold, and that the Federal Reserve wanted to print more money? Well, it would have to have a percentage of gold in stock in order to print that money. And then I can understand why this executive order came into play. But that's not the case now. So, but let me go on just a few seconds here. You all can read this. I mean, I'll put links on this. So yes, it was clear that there was an executive order which made it illegal to own gold. However, nobody ever, see, this is where people mistake this. I never said gold was illegal to own in our past. What I said was gold was never confiscated. Never. During 1933, gold was not confiscated. Nobody came around to anybody's doors. We're here to collect all your gold. That never happened. Many stupid people voluntarily turned in their gold. They got some cash for it. And after they noticed all the gold was, the volunteers, the idiots, turned in their gold and nobody else was turning in the gold, miraculously, gold shot up in price. But never, and there was, I thought, in my opinion, a scam to get everybody's gold, and then it shot up. The people who kept their gold and kept their mouths shut made some bucks. But never did anybody, no military, no police, nobody went around to confiscate anybody's gold back then. Can you imagine the manpower if they, okay, let's just say they're going to come and confiscate everybody's gold. The manpower it would take? I would have to say 95% of this country owns some amount of gold. Between the jewelry, right? Between the jewelry and us gold and silver stackers. That's a lot of freaking manpower. It'll never happen. They just don't have the manpower to do so. Anyway, folks, I'm going to run. I appreciate you watching this video. I'll leave the links to both articles here, the executive order and the and that news article claiming that gold can become illegal. Anyway, take care of yourselves, and thanks for tuning in for this video. Back to laying some tile.